Welcome back to another episode of Life After Sunday. I feel awkward in my chair.
Retake.
Hope everyone is having a great week. Just me and old Michael P today. Bob is at work, making that money, son.
Just making it rain for his
Making it
family.
rain. First and foremost, you got to take care of the fam.
That's right.
Be safe out there on the road, brother. We got a packed show today, man. Talk a little Valentine's Day history, where it came from.
No, and it's don't let that put you to sleep. I'm telling you, if
It's fascinating.
most guys like history, I think you'll find some of this stuff pretty interesting.
I learned a lot.
I did too.
I just, like you, I thought it was always a mushy,
Commercialized.
money-sucking holiday. Like,
I actually thought that's where it came from.
Yeah. So stay in tune for that, and we're going to talk about this crazy spending from the USAID. Like,
That's going to be awesome.
some of that stuff has blown my mind. And since we are on Valentine's Day, we're going to talk about dudes and
Feelings.
and
Oh,
love
man.
and how to love your family and what
I'm
the
already
Bible says
uncomfortable.
about it.
I'm
And
already uncomfortable.
that's hey, we said we are going to talk about the uncomfortable stuff.
That's
so
right.
That's
right.
what we're doing. Mike, tell us. First
Oh.
things first. First things first.
Right there.
How about them hogs, baby?
There.
How about them piggies?
Beating down Texas, boy.
That was the okay. I read a stat, and it was the first back-to-back wins and since before Christmas. Like we were playing like North Carolina A&T and stuff like that.
Yeah. 0-7.
Yeah.
And then 2 on-the-road victories. Well, tell me what was the coolest thing about it for you, and then I'll tell you what I thought.
Man, for one, just beating Texas. I hate Texas.
100%.
I hate Texas. I did hear a memory on the radio that back when Nolan was here, we ended up beating Texas 4 times in the same year. I can't remember what year it was. I think it was like early 90s. Eric would know. Chime in, Eric, if you're listening. Leave us a comment. But he played them like once in a regular season or twice in a regular season, met them in a tournament and met them again or some craziness. But we beat them all 4 times.
That's a glorious year.
Yeah. But it was great, man. I thought we playing better as a team now. Thero is a man. We're finally getting our money out of Nelly Davis. Kid is
Finally.
shooting the lights out. I thought he was robbing us at first, but he's starting to get some of that money worth.
He is. I think for me, like so many things hogs lately, it's been, you turn it on and you get no entertainment value. It's frustrating. It's not a good product.
Yeah.
And to kick it on the other night and watch it and just see a team playing well, shooting well, good defense, it was thoroughly enjoyable.
It was very enjoyable. I don't know about you, but and this is kind of tough for me to say, we're some of the biggest Hog fans around. And I was at a point to where before even the Saturday of the Kentucky game, I was like, yeah, I don't think we're going to win. I said, I'll probably tune in to watch. But
You don't care.
in years past, I'd be like, Arkansas and Kentucky.
Like it's a
Like,
big deal.
It's a big deal. But that win, as the game went on, I was like, okay. I was more intrigued. And then Wednesday, I was like, rushing home from church, it was like, must watch. If we wouldn't have won that game, Saturday's win would have been that good.
Right.
But now that we win, we got Alabama coming to Bud Walton tomorrow night.
Hey, it's a
Or
dangerous
Saturday night,
It's a
but-
dangerous team, man. You're starting
They
to
are.
see killer defense. You're starting to see the team gel. So if they can keep this going, they could be a dangerous team.
I told you and Eric this, but I'm not saying that we're a better team without Boogie, but people have fell into their roles better, I think, without Boogie.
Well, I think that's one of the neat things about team sports or organization. Like if you're running a unit, you got 6 or 7 guys in it. On paper, it should not work because Boogie was the best player,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
And isn't it weird how, you remove him and you get this unexpected benefit of all of a sudden the gears are now lining up. Everything's running like it's got oil in it
Yeah.
instead of grinding. Isn't that neat the
Yeah.
way that is? And how could you know that?
You can't. It's just one of those things has to happen for you to figure that out.
Yeah.
I think in his absence, I think everybody is, maybe stepping it up a level to try to compensate, and then somehow naturally it just kind of all fell into place.
Yep. Things just flow.
I think we don't have to win Saturday to make the tournament. I think if you win Saturday, you're almost in, no matter what happens.
Yeah.
But I think we've got 9 games left. It's a lot of winnable games left. I think if you go 6-3, 7-2, something like that, you'll be okay.
Yep.
And make
Got
the
a
tournament.
couple. We got some must wins, and we got some we lose against Alabama. It's no big deal, but
if you're thinking about going to the game Saturday, pack out the bud.
that's right. It's good. I want to see it live again. Some of the crowds lately have been kind of
Yeah.
weak because the team's weak.
Number 3 team in the country coming in. It should be nice.
It
I don't
should
know
be
what time
rocking.
they play, but
On a Saturday night, it ought to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Bud is rocking. Man, moving on to dude, I know you got the stats, but and you've been texting us all week about this.
I've been spamming y'all.
Spamming us I may have muted my notifications on one point, but
It's all right.
That's okay.
We've talked about it in previous episodes. I used to get butthurt. Now I don't care. I'll just spam you more.
I'll eventually read them.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, this money that the USAID is it's been revealed that the money that they've spent is one that just blows my mind. Is that I can't remember, was it $54 million to a gas station that
In Afghanistan,
was never there, never had any.
$25 million to the
What?
teachers union in New York. That's how much our police station cost. And you'll hear the left say as a part of the federal budget, it's inconsequential. And from a finance point of view,
What do you mean? What does that
because
mean?
it's less than 1% of the budget. So, for instance, it'd be like in your house budget, making a big deal about $1,000 being spent,
okay.
but it actually is a big deal. That's what the government officials have grown numb to. And I always come back to this. If you think less than 1% of the budget is not a big deal, and you're listening to the left say, this is all not a big deal in our budget because it's so big. Well, try not paying 1% of your taxes and tell me what happens.
Oh, it'll be a massive deal. You'll
You're
be in massive trouble.
Try it. You're going to have your pay garnished,
Yeah.
everything else. But the bigger part is the absolute corrupt thievery, the lack of values that have invaded our government. Let's go over a few of these to kind of set the tone. $2 million in Guatemala on sex change procedures. Is that
$2 million, dude?
so? Imagine $2 million on the streets of Russellville in Pope County could do.
Dude, let me ask you this. I don't even think those people of Guatemala probably don't even want a sex change.
No, and that's part of the bigger problem with USAID is some of these countries have conservative values. Like when I say that, I mean they don't want to deal with homosexual issues. They've got their way and they don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
And we have been shoving it down their throat through these programs. And we don't even know where the money was spent. So there is a belief that if you send a country $6 million, they could keep $2 million and send the other $4 million back into a backdoor Democratic organization. Millions were sent to a Black Lives Matter through another fund. $1.5 million to advance diversity, equity, and inclusion in Serbia's workplace. Serbia. This is a country
It's
that
third world countries, man.
this is a country that 20, 30 years ago that were killing each other. Massive Muslim versus Christian conflict. Do you think they're worried about DEI? I mean,
No.
there's a
They will kill you if you're
They got bigger issues. This is what happens when a country has been at peace for so long.
Yeah.
You begin to get into minutia instead of things that actually make your country better. You get into
What's that mean? Minutia.
just BS dumb stuff. You're getting in the weeds and doing dumb stuff because
Okay.
your country is not, people aren't being pressed. They're not, the country's not in a difficult, we're getting fat and happy and
Right.
richest country in the world, and we're getting loose. There's a $55,000 for a climate change presentation in Argentina, $500,000 to promote atheism in Nepal. Think about that. That's anti-Christian atheism.
They're promoting. We just had a missionary come to our church, and his area is like Sri Lanka and Nepal and all that over there, and they're trying to hit the. That's crazy because he said that he told us a story that like they were in this. They had to hike to this village. It was like a half a day hike. There was no roads to it, and this lady was there, 65 years old, never heard of Jesus, never heard of anything like that. And she was like, "What is this Jesus?" You know, and when he told her all this stuff, showed her the Bible, and she said she's gonna, I mean, she's ready to tell other people, you know. But it's like they're trying to get to that before we are,
Yeah.
or before he is. You know what I mean? Like
it's that I think it. I'm almost beyond words. $20,000 for a drag show in Ecuador, $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia, $3.3 million for LGBTQ in the Caribbean, $30 million. This is probably one of the biggest ones that was disgusting. $30 million to study HIV transmission among sex workers and transgender individual in South Africa through the Wits Health Organization. $20 million for a Sesame Street show in Iraq. I mean, and it goes on. We also helped fund the Wuhan lab that had the lab leak that killed people we know.
Yeah.
We're funding coronavirus research in China. I mean, and what the left's going to do is they're going to show us pictures of starving kids overseas and say that we're stopping all that. But whenever you have things that are this corrupt, I saw it was a tweet that explained it, or like when a CEO comes into an organization and has to fix an organization that's out of control with spending, you have to go to a zero budgeting based attack.
Yeah, it's like no spending.
No spending. And in the process of that, there are things that you want to spend money on that's for good causes or for something good.
You can't.
But you have to reset. You have to reset and then grow from there again because it's gotten so messy. You'll spend all your time going through trying to decide. I mean, they had, I think, USAID, I want to say they had 20,000 workers, and they're going to get rid of them all, but 416 that they're going to keep. And those are, to help distribute to the good causes.
Well, and going back to that zero, I know with that tweet you're talking about, I can't remember the guy but he explained it well, and he's talking about this process is not easy. It's going to suck, and it's going to hurt, but you have to do it, or nothing will ever improve.
Right. And just like anything in life, when you're trying to fix something, it's usually going to be tough before it's going to be rough before it gets better. Just like if you're resetting your house budgeting and you just stop all your subscriptions, you stop everything. And how do you get yourself in control of your house as far as spending is you start with the little things. Anybody will tell you stop with the purchases of $5 coffee.
Yep.
You stop with the $10 app store subscription. Mm-hmm. And then you build upon your wins. So you have to do the same thing in government.
Makes a lot of sense. I'm sure we can all relate to that because we've done it before. Like, how you go to your bank statement, you're like, what is this $12 charge I'm getting
for 2 years?
Yeah, like
that's the same thing with this.
That happens so much that you lose track of what you're even spending money on.
Recurring multi-million-dollar grants every year.
It's just on a massive scale versus.
And
My
the
little $5 app thing.
and this has been attempted once before under Reagan. This is in the paper pushing days, and they got so complicated because the government is so massive that they couldn't do it.
Really?
Well, Musk has brought his engineers over, and they're using AI, and AI has been able to quantumly map where this money is going.
Wow.
I mean, I saw one connected to Chelsea Clinton, and it had like 4 bubbles where the money went here, and then it went to another place, and then it went to another place, ultimately to the Clintons.
Wow.
So this has been not at Politico was got paid.
Were they 100% funded by?
No, not
Politico?
100%.
A
but
lot though. What?
$8 million in subscriptions to Politico Pro, and these subscriptions cost $75,000 a year. So government agencies would subscribe to this, and what it was supposed to be is like a directory of what legislation is coming up and who do you talk to if you basically for lobbyists to be able to go in and run their spiel of why they do or don't want this legislation. But $8 million, double digit.
New York Times was in.
New York Times.
They were in on that, weren't they?
So everybody has been getting paid off. I don't think I've seen a conservative one yet. And as a matter of fact, a lot of the NGOs, non-government organizations, were being paid a lot of them Christian. You know, the Christian groups that believe that we need open borders.
Yeah.
You know, they believe, and they'll pull out the Bible and say, you know, how we're supposed to treat people and stuff. But they also forget to read the part that says, Caesar, you know, if he makes laws, you need to follow those laws. Yeah. They seem to forget that part of it. But I'm talking like a Lutheran organization was getting double-digit checks, double-digit millions checks month after month after month.
It seems like all these, especially on the media side, these outfits that are pushing this left agenda are getting paid off.
Yeah.
That's tinfoil hat or not, that's what it seems like.
That's what it is. Because, I mean, I haven't seen Fox News hasn't been getting paid.
Right.
I mean, there's no conservative groups getting paid. And they all knew it. They even had senators trying to get USAID to give them records. And if you're a Republican, they just simply wouldn't do it. If you were a Democrat, they'd give you what you wanted. So they were untouchable. And now they're touchable. And if I see another Democrat screaming in the streets about how we need to protest, and I mean, that ought to, what is it? Doth House protest too much or something? Yeah. You know, like,
I know what you're talking about.
You know, it's you're finding out where the cockroaches are by the loudest screamers.
Yeah. It's wild, man.
Yeah. So that's going to be ongoing. And I can promise you this, once they get into Medicare and Medicaid, the amount of fraud that goes on in there is going to blow your mind. They think up to $1 trillion in complete fraud they're going to find.
In Medicaid and Medicare?
Overall in all this.
Wow. Do you have an overall number of where they're at now as like what they found?
No. In the grand scheme of it, $1 million here, $1 million there doesn't register in the federal budget, which is why they were doing it, because no one would ever care or know. But they got access to the actual direct payment system, and they're using the AI to go through that, and that's how they're able to find all this just complete unethical garbage.
That's insane, man.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully Trump and Elon can get this at least start to get it routed.
Well, I hope Elon can handle because, man, he's public enemy number one. It's rather ironic that the Democrats are saying this unelected bureaucrat, Elon, is running the government, and they're going crazy over it. And we're like, Biden, there's a shadow person who's been running our government for the last 4 years.
Yeah. We don't know who it is.
We don't know who it is. And if you know anything about Trump's running the show.
Yeah.
And it's just funny how
at least Elon's out in the open and he's being transparent and, I mean, you know, telling people what's going on and stuff. And
well, this is what happens. It's like a police department. If you go into a government organization and you try to make changes, there is no organization that will resist you more than a government organization.
Right.
Things get entrenched and they will resist you because you're destroying their money,
Yeah.
that's coming in. And a lot of these folks are used to working government jobs where you're never going to get fired. And now they're getting fired.
Yeah.
So, it's funny watching them yell.
That's crazy. Man, I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. Continue to like, subscribe to our show, share the content if it blesses you. We will greatly appreciate it. Help to get the word out on the show. We're coming up on Valentine's Day next Friday. You got big plans?
We don't, man. We're so different than many couples.
I ain't gonna argue that.
We don't care. We don't care. Like early on, I used to buy my wife flowers, and she'd be like, "That's the biggest waste of money on the earth. Please don't do anything."
We don't do the whole flower thing. I think we're gonna just hang out at the house, cook a nice dinner, and chill, watch movies and stuff. We're not gonna do anything drastic, but
I don't hate on couples who do. It's just, I think after 27 years, you just kind of reach a point where we show each other our love by
every day
what we do
every
day and living life together. And I'm so thankful because I feel, man, I look on Facebook and some guys got to work so hard, boy, because their girls, and there's nothing wrong with it. Their girls want it and need it. And they're working so hard, going over the top, doing things for them. And Monica and I are all the time. We're like, I'm so glad we're not like that. We just chill, man.
Well, I think me and Kerry were like, what are we gonna do for Valentine's Day? And we threw around the idea of going out to eat to a nice supper or whatever. And then we were like, let's just stay home. Let's cook. And I'm gonna cook some steaks.
Y'all are progressing. Y'all are getting there.
I'm gonna throw some steaks on the grill, and we're content doing that, being together and watching movies at the house.
And I don't want to wait in line to eat either.
No.
In Houston, that probably helped it. You have no prayer of eating on Valentine's Day,
especially on a Friday.
You're done.
You're done. Around here is gonna be nuts too.
It's not worth it.
And Carrie and I, if we want to go out, we have date nights all the time. So if we want to have a nice go out to eat, we'll go out to eat.
Yeah.
It don't have to be Valentine's Day for me to.
That's our Friday night. She works hard all week, and on Friday night we let loose a little bit and go out and have dinner, and that's our thing.
Yeah.
It's funny to think back to when you were grade school though, and you remember getting the Smarties, and Valentine's Day was a big deal. When you had
to go we always had to go make these Valentine boxes.
The boxes.
Yeah. We'd go all out, and then Mom would take you to get Valentine cards, and you had to sign everybody's name.
And you had to decorate it.
Yeah.
You had to decorate your box. That's good memories. I
made a computer one time. It had it was before flat screens and all that. It was a big box, had a keyboard, and had a big tower over here, and the CD deal was where you put the Valentine cards.
Oh, nice. See, that was your IT side coming out way back then, man.
It was fun. It was a good time. But coming up on Valentine's Day, I was like, let's look up some history of Valentine's Day, because I always thought Cupid and blah, 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 lovey-dovey. It's always been like that, but in reality, it really hadn't always
I thought it was
been
just
like
a made-up holiday made by the commercial industry.
To make money.
To make a ton of money, and they do. It's a huge money maker.
Yeah.
But then upon closer inspection, we find it actually started with, wasn't it pagan? They were worshiping the Romans.
It was a Roman pagan festival. You got to say the name because I can't say it.
Lupercalia.
And they celebrated fertility and purification type stuff. And I actually did a deal where so it honored the god of fertility and
it was the god of agriculture.
Yeah.
Fanus. I can't say it.
Yeah,
Faunus.
They would sacrifice goats and use their hides to slap women believed to increase fertility. What?
Man. Prior to the last 100 years, boy, the world was just was rugged, man.
Yeah.
And you look back then, go slap a girl to make her more fertile. Okay.
Like,
genius.
I read it like too, like they were like sacrifice dogs, and they would do this. I can't remember what they would go down the streets, and like I guess slapping them and whipping them for fertility and for health and healing. And I was like, that's the exact opposite. Like Jesus was whipped, and he says he took the stripes on our back for what? Our healing.
Yeah.
But they made this festival of a dude running down the street with dogs and goats and women beating them.
And it's actually going to cause the opposite reaction, because when a woman is stressed, she's not going to make as many eggs and might even not make any that month.
It's insane, man. So it sounded like it was celebrated for like several days. It was like from the 13th to the 15th. But it, like, I guess in the 5th century,
Christianity was spreading.
Yep, Christianity was spreading, and Pope Gelasius I replaced Lupercalia with the celebration of Saint Valentine, which it was because of these Christian martyrs, Saint Valentine being one of the biggest, because he was marrying these guys in spite of
Guys to the women.
Guys to women,
Yeah.
yes. He was married, but the government, the emperor at the time, didn't want guys to marry women.
Because they wouldn't make good soldiers.
Correct. They wouldn't make good soldiers. So this St. Valentine was going behind the law and marrying these people, and he was actually executed for it.
See, and there are some who believe, scholars, who believe that was also the Christian way of replacing the pagan holidays.
Yeah.
So they were Christianity, as it grew, had enough power to replace a pagan holiday with one associated with Christianity, which is pretty cool.
It's a fun fact. I read that legend has it that before his execution, Saint Valentine healed the jailer's blind daughter and left a farewell note that said, "From your Valentine," and he was executed February 14th, 269 AD.
Yeah, and he was called the Valentine of Rome.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? And then you get killed for something like that. And then there was also
I guess the execution came because of what he was doing, marrying the soldiers behind the back of the emperor.
And that Valentine you're talking about, who healed the jailer's daughter and left her a note, that was the Valentine of Tourney.
Really?
So it's interesting. But I guess the Pope Gelasius in 496 AD officially declared February 14th as Saint Valentine's Day, likely to Christianize Lupercalia.
Yeah.
So
they're trying to do away with the pagan and replace it to celebrate a Christian
the bishop or the Pope officially said, "This is a day."
This is a day.
In 469,
it's crazy.
Holiday that we celebrate has that much tradition in it.
Sounds like that was 200 years after Saint Valentine was executed.
That's how long progress took.
It's crazy.
And then there was also a poet, Geoffrey Chaucer, wrote the Parliament of the Fowls in 1382, and he noted that the birds began mating in mid-February.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting because
He
literally
linked that to romance.
Yeah. And that happened all the time back then. They would associate, because it's like the birds are the first people to tell you spring's coming. And I'm telling you, this week I have noticed the birds chirping louder than they have in 2 months.
Yeah. Like this morning when Carrie got up for I did and she let the dogs out, and I heard, like, all the way back in the bedroom, I could hear the dogs, or the dogs chirping, the birds chirping outside loud. And it's amazing. But what you're talking about, we're coming up on the Middle Ages before this is beginning to take shape into what we know now as Valentine's Day.
Right.
You know, with chivalry and courtly love and all that.
And exchanging handwritten love notes.
Did you write me a Valentine's Day, Mike?
I did. I have to give it to you off air.
But and now go on to now, like, it's this heavily commercialized holiday. a love holiday.
Mm-hmm. And it's a good thing,
It's a good thing.
ultimately.
Yeah.
Um,
My wife, she said, the way to my wife's heart on Valentine's Day is a fruit tray. She wants chocolate covered strawberries, and I make them homemade,
oh, you need to hook a brother up. That should be my Valentine from you.
and cut up pineapples
I
and
love
all kinds of
pineapples.
fruit. Like, she'd rather have that than flowers.
Yeah, because
It's
I'm
enjoy-
sorry, man. Flowers are a joke.
Yeah.
We're all getting had.
She actually showed me a deal, and it was on, I don't know, some social media post, and somebody did that, but they had like watermelon and stuff on there, and they had cut them out in the shape of hearts. I'm gonna have to find me a heart shape
Dude, buy you one of them.
cookie cutter
You
or
need
something.
to get, where you going to get a watermelon, though, this time of year?
It'll be fake. It won't be a watermelon.
Okay. But yeah, that's cool stuff. I guess that's how the edibles
I think so.
came to be so popular.
But you could do it a whole lot cheaper if you just take a little time, fellas. Go to Walmart, get you a box of strawberries and whatever kind of fruit she likes. Cut you up a pineapple or some grapes, whatever.
Well, like anything that you've done, even a handwritten note on a scrap piece of paper
Money.
is going to be 1,000 times better
Because it's right here.
than I think back to it now and I shudder to it. Like back when I was younger and you would just buy the pre-written Valentine's Day card.
We've all done it.
It's so cheesy. Like
Yeah.
I didn't write those words, you
Yeah.
know, but still like,
But like you like see like what we always did was like, you know, you get the card and then you either put another piece of paper in there of things you've written, or you fill up
Yes.
half the side with
that's what I would do.
what
yeah.
you wanted to say. You know what I mean? But
Well-
there's something about old school handwritten letter. Put it in an envelope, seal it up, write the name on it. You know,
That's a great idea because I actually thought it's kind of off topic, but
you should do that and
Actually-
surprise Monica, and she would.
that's a great idea because I actually thought about this with some of my closest friends. One day I was just pondering life and thinking about handwriting my friends who don't live here locally.
Yeah,
You know, just a letter.
yeah.
Like my grandpa used to send out a quarterly or monthly letter he would type. It would be an update on his life, what's
Mhm.
going on.
That's pretty
And-
cool.
And my dad, I think that's where it comes from too. He wrote me letters all the time. And just now he's gone. I go back and I have those letters and I can see his handwriting becomes so incredibly special because now there is nothing handwritten. I mean, and even whenever I do my Bible study, I've been making myself write in cursive, and it's so hard because you'll get to a letter and I'll have to mark through it and rewrite it.
Yeah, like you forget how to write this letter.
Yeah, but like how touching, especially in this day and age, is a handwritten letter if you learned cursive. To write it in cursive would just have so much deeper meaning
100%.
than the plastic world that we live in today. So
My grandmother, she wrote everything in cursive, man. Like
it's beautiful.
everything. Her handwriting was beautiful.
And
Right.
it's a lost touching art.
Yeah.
And that's another thing about,
I'm fixing to write my wife a handwritten letter in cursive
Yes.
for Valentine's
well, think
Day.
about this.
And I'm going
like-
to take my time. I'm going to be like slow.
and then you'll probably have to get it all down, print
Yeah.
it, and then try
To
without
make it-
making a mistake.
Yeah.
Because you think about like with my dad, you know, people who go on in life, go to the other side. There is nothing more personal that I have in possession of his than a handwritten letter with his signature.
Yeah.
It's so personal. And like even the way he signed his name is similar to the way I sign my name.
Mhm.
So you can kind of see, you know, that
But he
connection.
took the time at that moment to sit down. And you know, when he was writing you that letter, you were the only thing on his mind.
And today, who can do that?
Nobody.
5
I
seconds.
mean, you can, but
You have to fold it
make
up.
yourself.
You got to get an envelope, lick a stamp, go stick it in the mailbox.
Yeah.
So letters are just to me very, very special. That kind of made me want to think, you know, right,
That's
my
cool.
buddy. I actually was going to get with
Do you know
him
you?
and think, let's exchange letters.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just one of those ideas. It will probably never happen, but it would be neat to get exchange letters.
Like,
as
like
dudes.
you send one off and within the next week or so, you're going to have something, and you'll probably be checking the mailbox, wondering, am I going to get a letter today?
Yeah. And it was also like when I was in Saudi Arabia to get a letter from Monica or my dad that, and even when I was in basic, Crystal had written me a letter. We were friends at the time. Eric, and I guess my mom and dad told them that I hated basic, and so I think they
send Mike letters.
I think they thought I was going to leave basic because I was so homesick. And I even have a handwritten letter to this day I still have in my possession from Eric.
Wow,
it's cool.
That's awesome.
You know that, and what the thoughts were at that time are permanently on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
And you can see what we were thinking at the time, you know, what he was thinking about the hogs. I don't know. They're just special.
It takes you back. Like,
and they're easy to store.
Yeah.
You know, you stick it in a box.
With a piece of paper.
And you've got it, you know.
I know, speaking of letters, there's a lot of people around the state that will actually drive to, around Valentine's Day, drive to Romance, Arkansas, mail a letter from Romance.
That's pretty cool.
And it gets postmarked Romance, Arkansas. And I think they put like a heart on it or something.
Yeah, sure they do.
And
wonder where that, do you know how far away that is?
I do not.
But see, that's a neat touch. And it's sometimes as you talk about stuff, it kind of makes me like, we actually need to do this. Like it's really, really, it's a forgotten.
Says it's in White County, so that's up around Searcy.
Well, so there's some ideas for you, Arkansas guys.
Yeah.
You're driving around, drop a letter. And who says it has to be Valentine's Day? Just drop a random letter to your wife.
It is, so looks like
it's west of Searcy.
Yep, west of Searcy, south of Rosebud, go up north of El Paso. You can go through Mount Vernon.
Yeah, it's not that
up
far
through
away.
Enola. Yeah.
There you go. There's your idea.
Boom.
And it only cost, what is a stamp now? 50 cents?
No, I think it's closer to $1.
It's stupid expensive now.
Is it still 50 cents?
I don't know, but it's expensive.
I thought it might be close, 75 cents or something.
Yeah, it's gotten off the chart.
However you celebrate Valentine's Day, gentlemen, don't forget.
Yeah. And then that brings us to the part I hate talking about, feelings. You know,
okay. Let's just start out with this simple question: why do men see love and emotion as weakness? Because they do.
They do.
Most men do. But why?
We've just been taught to be tough. And to be honest with you, and I'm gonna be just frankly honest with you.
Frankly,
if you see a guy who's a big, squishy, emotional bag, do you honestly respect him? Deep inside.
But there's a difference to me in being an emotional bag, like you said, or being emotionally involved or
Correct.
Emotionally present.
I agree.
Like not suppressing there's a time to be tough, and there's a time that it might be okay to cry.
It is.
You know what I mean?
If
I see a big dude like that crying over something that's necessary that equates crying over, I'm not going to see him any less of a man.
I agree.
If I don't see him crying, I'll be like, dang, what's wrong with that dude?
Yeah.
Like
that would be me.
That's a butthole. You know what I mean? Like,
well, it's usually not. It's not like with most guys who have trouble with it. It could be emotional damage from when you were a kid.
Yeah.
For me, it's 25 years of seeing the most heartbreaking things that you could see in life and just shutting it off.
That goes back to that, like,
I'm the
for
problem.
your job, you had to suppress. You can't go up to a scene and this person, this 80-year-old man or a dead baby is dead, or a young toddler is dead, and start bawling your eyes out. You can't. Yeah. You can't function properly in your job.
No.
So therefore, you trained yourself. You had to suppress the emotion. You had to put it back.
It's not healthy. And that's why, I always say I'm the problem. But, like, if I see someone crying, I get uncomfortable and I get awkward. Like like if I was like if I was at work, it was no issue. I was there to make things better and it was easy.
Yeah.
But in my own personal life, like if Monica cries, I will show her the proper response as a husband, but inside I am uncomfortable.
You're like, how do I deal with this?
It's bizarre. And
Yeah.
that the only thing I can come up with is just actually went to a therapist one time and they said it's because your whole life you've always been taking care of everybody else and now it's in your own space. You literally don't know how to react to it. So
Yeah.
a lot of times it's not a guy being a butthole, which would be a normal response. It's just that maybe they've had enough experiences where sometimes they just don't know how to handle it.
You know, like you said it great. Like they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Like we're being taught since we were little boys by society, even by dad, maybe like men don't cry.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, like little boys got to be tough. You want to be a man. You got to be tough.
Well, imagine coming up on this. Like we come up on I worked at a dead baby one time, and when I walked into the living room, the baby was laying on the carpet like a piece of trash. So can you imagine? I'm in there bawling over the baby.
Oh yeah.
When the other guys walk in, it doesn't. Would that help the situation at all? But the problem is when you deal with stuff like that, you need to deal with it later.
Yeah. But do you deal with it later?
And that's what causes
that
the
numbness,
issues,
that hardness,
the hardness from it. And even now, like seeing like so much death in the world, like people get upset over a plane crash, like the one that just happened. Yeah. I don't really react to it because I'm well aware from living outside the bubble of normal people's lives. I'm fully aware that crap happens.
Yeah.
I get it. And you'll see some people, they're just so upset by it. That's called a normal person.
Yeah.
But, I've been desensitized to it. So a lot of us guys, you don't have to be in police work to have traumatic experiences. You could have been abused as a kid.
Right.
And then you become desensitized to it and maybe sometimes aren't the best, loving guy in the world.
And some things that, we talk about suppressing those, even for like maybe a guy that hasn't been in the military or like the police work or whatever, but they're, you show that emotion that equate that with weakness. So they suppress it. Maybe they were talking about that by their dad, or like the media in Hollywood portrays like look at Rambo or John Wayne or somebody, like those dudes are tough. Like they don't, so they get in this stuff, but then they start bottling that stuff up.
It's
and
unhealthy.
Then it comes to anger,
yes,
bitterness, stress. And you've actually mentioned like, not necessarily saying that it's just the crying part, but since you've been back home and retired, like your emotional health has gotten way better.
100%.
I mean, you might be crying, but your emotional health has been better.
Yeah, and also just more sensitive and more, and also too, I think for guys out there who maybe are like me, maybe whatever happened to make you the way you are, and that's the thing with like traumatic experiences. A lot of guys judge what's happened to them and they gauge it. You compare it to somebody else. Well, I had one thing happen to me. You can't do. The mind's not like that.
No.
It can be one traumatic experience could make you where you have trouble with that emotion.
Right.
But the key is to understand it, realize it, and realize that the person crying is not the issue.
Yeah.
You are. So you have to climb over the awkwardness of it and try to help somebody.
Right.
And like
and when I say like it doesn't have to be all just on crying. Like,
that's just
a massive emotion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, be emotionally present, whatever that may be for whatever situation, whether it's happy, sad, joyous, angry.
Well, I'll tell you something. Talking about sensitivity, this is kind of it's not funny, but it is like if I've seen like an old lady who will fall down, like at church last year, she slipped and fell outside. I immediately stop and help her like a normal human, like everyone listening would do, right? Well, then going back to my wife, she fell off of a boat one time where she was getting off the boat. It was on pavement, and she slipped and fell. And my reaction wasn't of like it would be with the old lady or any person who's not my wife.
Yeah.
It was, my initial response was anger, because I'm protective, and I was frustrated that she got into that situation. And
Right.
how did all this happen? I should have stopped this. And it's, so again, the awkward reaction of not having proper sensitivity in the right spot.
Right.
You know,
You were flooded with anger. But you said because you weren't in control of the situation.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And I think that's a lot of guys too. They feel like if they show some type of emotion, they lose control
Yeah. Well,
of whatever situation they might be in.
you saw some real emotion from me when you were climbing around on that cliff. You saw me. I got mad, didn't I?
Yeah.
Because y'all were getting too close to the cliff, and
Yeah.
I was like, they're going to fall, and this is going to be stupid, and I'm
I'm
mad.
not telling your wife.
And I walked away. I
You
walked
did?
away. I said, y'all fall. You're going to fall and die in the Arkansas mountains on your own. I'm not having anything to do with this. And I walked
You
away,
did.
because I was worried about y'all,
Yeah.
and, but a lot of guys struggle. You don't have to be in public sector to understand that. You could have been traumatized, when you were a kid and you start crying because you failed at baseball,
Yeah.
and dad's just riding your butt, or making you feel weak. And so the problem is, we all know a lot of us have this issue, and the key is to have the honest conversation with yourself and realize you are the problem,
Mhm.
and therefore you can find a solution for
Yeah.
it.
And I think too, like, like a message I want to get out, try to pertain to what we're talking about today is like real, like showing love and showing emotion. Like not showing that stuff is easy. Showing it requires strength. It
Yeah.
requires you to engage in something that's difficult.
And what's funny is,
So that's hard.
Yeah, that's
And
hard.
It requires strength.
But like, I love showing emotion to my guy friends.
Yeah.
I mean, I show it to my wife. Don't get me wrong. I'm talking about when stressful events occur with
Right.
her. But on a daily basis with my boys, I mean, I will give you a hug. I don't like doing handshakes. I like giving hugs.
I got a hug when you walked in.
Yeah, I love when guys can show emotion to their friends and
Yeah.
show that they love them. Like that develops deep, personal, long-lasting friendships.
Right.
That this isn't just a surface thing,
Right.
And that's why now I don't even really, my whole life, like most guys, you jack with your buddies, you make fun of them. I don't even do that anymore, because at the end of the day, it's going to be a negative thing, even though
Right.
that's just what we do as guys.
Yeah. Well, I was told, like, I don't know, my second day on my current job when I was working, like I was like, when somebody stops messing with you, that's when you need to worry, because that means they don't like you.
Yeah, with guys, that's how we show. It's a negative thing, but that's how we
Right.
show that we
Yeah.
love each other, is by
If you're getting picked
just
on, they probably
hammering
like you.
just hammering you.
Yep. That means you like somebody.
Yeah,
If I didn't like you, I would not.
that means you get butt hurt, and I'm not going to mess with you. You're
Yep.
not worth my time.
You're not worth my time. But you talk about your wife. Ephesians 5:25. It gives the ultimate example of how a man should love his wife and his family. It says, "Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her."
Yeah, I think that
That's
that verse kind of supersedes everything about it, because Christ's love for the church, it doesn't get much bigger than that.
no.
I mean,
I mean,
that's,
he
that's
like
huge.
literally gave his life, the ultimate sacrifice for the church, for the bride of Christ, and that's the standard, bro. Like we're down here, that's the standard.
Yeah, yeah. So it means you're going to constantly be working on it. If you want to have a successful marriage, it's going to be something you always have to work on.
But I think that's the beauty of our relationship with our wives and stuff. We're and it's just like our relationship with God. Like I think our pastor does this a lot, and he often equates our relationship with Jesus as to a relationship with a husband and wife.
Yeah.
And it's done a lot in the Bible as well. But we're constantly, with Jesus, we're constantly striving to be better, get closer to him. And just like with our wives, we're constantly striving to be better husbands. We're to be better than we were the day before, show them more love, show them more affection, more than we did before. And will we ever get to that ultimate thing? We may not, but we're gonna try with everything within us.
Right.
You know.
What is one of the things, like when y'all were courting each other? What is one of the? Did you do anything unique for your wife that just kind of? And I'm asking because I've got something that's funny.
Our big, and we actually did it today. We met at ICT there at that call center in Morrilton.
You met what?
There's a call center in Morrilton.
Yeah.
It's called ICT. That's where we met.
Like a workplace?
Yeah.
Y'all met at a workplace.
Yeah.
Like my mom and dad met at the pickle plant. Y'all met at ICT.
Yes.
Sweet.
Like she had to plug her phone in to charge it, a BlackBerry. Remember the BlackBerries?
Yeah.
And it happened to be right by my desk. And we started talking, and she had a pretty rough weekend. It was a Sunday night. I usually didn't work Sunday nights. And we took every break together, and
just started off from there. So do y'all have?
But yeah, while our relationship started while we were both working there, and we used to go every day. We had a Subway date for lunch break.
That's big time.
Even if I wasn't working, I would come pick her up. I had a 2002 Tahoe black. It was dark gray. I thought it was something, man. That sucker was shined up. She's like, "You never keep your vehicle clean like you did back then." And I roll up, I had my hat on backwards, and we'd go. If we were working, we'd just run off together, But I'd pick her up. We go to Subway, and I brought home Subway today, and I said, "Babe, this takes me back to when we got the same thing every day, Subway milk."
See, I love that. I love the and every couple's got them. Put them in the comments if you've got something unique. If it's I buy her flowers, just don't waste your time.
Yeah. But
if you got something unique, I'd like to hear it.
And Carrie was actually kind of sad. She was like, "Oh, I should have got a Subway milk." She got a flatbread, something now, But she's like, I said, "I got a Subway milk." And she was like, "Well, you should have got me one." I said, "You wanted a flatbread."
I had a genius idea one time where I took remember the Wrigley Spearmint gum? It'd be in those big packs. So I took all the gum out, and then I put a handwritten quick note in there, or what I thought of her, some great attribute about her. And then if you take them out, you can fold them back up and stick them back in empty.
So it was like gum wrappers. It looked like gum, but it
looked
was
like gum,
notes.
but they were notes. And I don't remember. I don't want to exaggerate. I hate exaggerators. I don't know if I put it in her purse or some place where she would grab it and then pull it out and then see the note. And then so there was like 25 of them. I got one of the bigger packs of it. So just
that's
kind
awesome.
of
Mike, you did that.
Yeah, can you believe that? That's crazy. But there's a good idea for you. Be something you got.
I might have to use that.
Let's say outside the box, man.
That's awesome.
A little something different.
I really might use that one.
So if you got something like that, throw it out there, man.
Yeah, throw it out there. We would love to hear that. Throw out your Valentine's Day plans, what you're planning on doing. My wife's big on she'd rather me just plan something out and say we're leaving at 5:00, be dressed for this, and be surprised.
Yeah,
that's my wife. I hate surprises, but she would rather that happen.
Yeah, that's good. I know y'all take some trips up to the cabin, get away from it all. That's good.
Yeah. And moving on to God's love for us, I often equate that to our love for our kids, but it's way much greater than that,
Right.
But that's how I kind of wrap my head around God's love, is how we love our kids. And but it's not soft.
You mean God's love?
Yeah. Just like it requires discipline and sacrifice. And the Bible actually says that in Hebrews 12:6 that the Lord disciplines the ones he loves.
I was gonna say it also comes with some pretty big consequences.
Yeah.
Like if you know about God or Jesus and you don't, you don't believe he's your savior, you don't believe he rose from the dead, then you have the ultimate consequence waiting on you.
Yeah.
And so it's the greatest love and sacrifice of all time, but it also comes with some pretty big consequences.
Yeah.
And
like, just like, when we love our kids and like we can discipline them so they get a spanking, but then before they go to bed, we're going to go in there, tell them good night, and we love them and giving them a kiss.
Right.
That's healthy. That's discipline, and that's still knowing that your kids still know that you love them.
Yeah, and in marriage, if we fail to understand the consequences, then our consequence of our failure could be, divorce and just destroy your life.
100%.
And sometimes it's not your fault. I mean, no matter what you do, it still isn't going to work. But if something is within your power and you have the ability to take care of it, you keep your marriage strong and avoid that terrible consequence of it failing. Because when it fails, the more and more the families fail, more and more people aren't getting married, fewer kids are being had. And that's ultimately would lead to the demise of Christianity, because Christianity functions off of strong families with good family values.
I think that's ultimately what the enemy wants: take out the man, take out the family. And, Jesus is the ultimate example of love, his love that it confronted sin, sacrificed for others, and is the truth and didn't back down from the truth.
Right.
And that's huge. And I think that the ways that men can lead in love, like we've already talked about some of those ways, like in your marriage, like be action oriented. Like you said, you said me and Monica, we show each other how we love each other through our actions.
Yeah.
That's a practical tip for you fellas out there. Like, don't be lazy.
Yeah.
Like, show her by the things you do that you love her.
Right.
The Bible actually says that we show Jesus we love him by doing what he says, following his commands. So, show your wife you love her by action.
Yeah.
Love is an action word.
It is. And holding yourself accountable, looking in the mirror every day, and using Valentine's Day it doesn't have to be that day, but February is a good month to remind yourself of, because we all get in the process.
That's what we're trying to do here.
Yeah, we get in the process of life. Life is busy.
Yep.
Boom, 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 you're going. All of a sudden, things kind of can start to get stale. Perfectly normal.
Yep.
But when you see it, recognize it, and take action.
Take action, baby.
Yeah, I mean, we're not perfect, and we're not claiming to be we're just trying to give some helpful advice on it, and have been married a long time and managed to stay together. So I got a little
bit an ancient man.
A little bit of experience in it, especially in a career field where the divorce rate's through the roof, and then special needs kids through the roof. So know a little bit about it,
Yes. And with your kids, your father, being a father, again, reiterate discipline with love, be present at all times, and set an example of manly strength, fatherly love, and kindness, emotion, and spend time with your kids, man.
Yeah.
Kids spell love Time.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%. And with your friends, you said it a while ago, hold each other accountable. We want to do that. We do that. We try to do that with each other.
Be loving bros, man. So develop those deep relationships. And actually, as a guy, and this involves your wife and can be involving your friends. I work hard on this, and my friends can call me out if I don't, but I really try to ask how your life is going, and not just as a question to listen to hot air while I think about it. Actually stop and engage. Like, I want to know what you're doing at your job. Tell me about your day. You know, tell
Yeah.
me. I want to show a genuine interest in your life, not just how's it going.
Well, as your friend, I can say that you do that, and you say, like, dude, are you good? Like, and you even asked me before, is there anything you need to talk about?
Yeah, or something as light as, I want you to tell me exactly what you did at work today.
Yeah,
Like, I want to know, like, what'd you do
yeah,
from start to finish?
yeah,
It's interesting. Plus, it's interesting to learn what normal jobs are like, you
Right.
know, and then that gives your buddy the opportunity to tell you about his job. It
But
don't matter what
it
the
makes
job
you feel
is.
your friend. Like, for me, it makes you. Everybody wants to be wanted,
Yeah,
and it makes you feel like when you ask me that stuff, it's like, oh man, Mike really cares and wants to know about my day, and it makes you feel wanted and loved, and not to be weird, but that's the truth.
that's the truth. I mean, there is no Valentine's Day for friends,
Yeah,
and friends in your life are almost as important as your family, because
yeah,
your friends are an outlet that, no matter how much you love your wife, guys got to have friends. They just do. Dudes got to be able to talk with other dudes and tell it like it is.
yep.
So we need to create a Valentine's Day for guys. Nobody will think that's weird, right?
No, I think it's weird.
We're gonna start writing letters to each other.
Yeah, I'm
Let's
starting
do
right
it
now.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna leave in your truck a spearmint pack of extra gum with no gum and just notes of how awesome Mike is.
That would be weird. I would get that awkward feeling again. I'd be like, I don't know, what do I need to write you? Do I need to go get a Valentine's card for you?
That's great. So, man, we want to challenge everybody out there to show some real love this week, this month, and make it a point, man. If you feel yourself getting complacent, you feel yourself getting hard, check yourself, get a buddy, talk to him, and say, dude, like, I feel myself getting hard up again. Like, I need some help. Get in the Word, pray, ask God to soften your heart, show you how you can lead your family in love, your wife in love, and be the man that you've been called to be.
We're always working to break up that thing in our chest called a heart.
Yeah,
We're always, man, it's default to go hard.
it
And
is.
you're constantly having to chip the rocks off of it to soften yourself up a little bit, man.
Yep. It's hard for God to move on an old stony heart, they say, but, you know, don't wait for it to be like some catastrophic event for your heart to have a little crack before it's too late. Before
Proactively go crack it
be
off.
proactive, baby.
Get on it.
Yeah. Ask your God to break your heart and see what happens.
I actually do that a lot. I I was driving down the road today, and I swear to God, the on-ramps in Arkansas, I swear they go 35. I know that's the only complaint I've got about Arkansas right now is people are so slow driving. And I found myself just, and I actually have to stop and pray, like, really? You're getting all wound up over this.
Yeah.
Soften up the heart. You're starting to get a little
Yeah.
hard. Or some guy, you know, that really good parking space up in front of Lowe's, and he covers two parking spaces, and I see him walking to his truck, and I want to say something.
Yeah.
Soften up the heart.
New Mike don't say nothing, though.
Sometimes.
You don't say nothing directly. You might say something under your breath.
I might have said nice parking job. Sometimes I'm human. I just break. And I got done saying it. I was like, what's the point? That's so dumb.
Yeah.
So dumb. I need to soften. And that's whenever I was like, I need to soften up. I'm getting a little hard.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. Recognize it and handle it.
Right.
And take action. Thanks, everybody, for listening today. Enjoy your Valentine's Day with your sweetheart this Friday, however you do it, and I'll pray us out of here. Heavenly Father, Lord, I thank you for this podcast. I thank you for my brothers. I thank you for everyone listening. I pray, God, that you lead and guide us by your Holy Spirit. Help us to be the men that you have called us to be. We fail often. Pick us back up. Give us strength, Father, to love our families, our wives and our children and our friends, the way you have called us to love them, the way your word says to love them. Give us strength, Father, to show emotion, Father. Give us guidance by your Holy Spirit. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you for listening to the Life After Sunday podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. Please give us a like and a comment. and go follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. And as always, keep fighting the good fight.